And you are live.
Brilliant.
Okay, we're live. Hello. Michael Parkinson.
Yes. Oh, you know Parky.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I love all my British hosts.
I'm no Parky.
That's okay.
Unfortunately, I'm no Parky. So I am here with Rick Cosnett, who most people will know as Eddie Thorne from The Flash.
I think so.
But also, there's a lot of people that know you from the Vampire Diaries as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which one would you say was the most interesting for you?
I think it would. Oh, that's a very good question. I think on the Flash was really exciting in a way, in a different way, because it was the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it was the genesis of the TV version of the new TV version of the Flash, and so that was really exciting. It was really. We all fell in love, the whole cast, like the 7 of us that were the regulars, and it was really, really cool. And then, can I say what happens at the end of season 1?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sure everyone who's
it.
watching this has seen, because it was a long time ago now, that I died, and so it was all the more horrible and all the more sad, when I found out 2 months before the finale that I was going to be killed. So that was in itself a whole thing. And then the Vampire Diaries, it was my first big American show, and so I was really nervous, terrified, but also so excited at the same time. And so they were on season 5 already, and I started at the beginning, and there was a lot of relationship things happening with the cast members and stuff. So, and they didn't know how long I'd be there either. So I felt like the new kid at school who was trying to get in with the cool kids, and. I had this imaginary sty on my eye. I was paranoid that I was going to get like an eye infection, ruin my big break.
Yeah.
And it never actually eventuated. In fact, I think by the time I got on the Flash, I still had this imaginary sty, which the makeup artists used to joke about. And I finally realized I was just like being a hypochondriac.
Just like that's fair enough.
Yeah.
How did you, obviously you found out that Eddie was going to die. How did you feel about that? Because it was kind of, you were a regular part of every episode, and I must admit, I was actually really shocked when it happened, but then it's kind of like, I get it, but I mean, that's a massive sacrifice to make. How did you feel when you found out that you were going to die?
Well, I was actually, the producer took me to breakfast. Okay, so now it's a big joke on The Flash. You do not want to be taken for breakfast. You do not want to be hungry in the morning, okay? Because you're going to die. Although they've all survived up till now, so they've probably just not gone to breakfast.
No.
Just don't accept the invitation and then you'll be fine.
It's so hard to keep the camera straight on you.
And so... it was at first he told me, of course I was in shock, as an absolute shock. Yeah. And he also told I think Grant and Jesse the day before, so they had a really hard day not being able to tell me, and I was in these scenes with Grant the night before, and he was able to tell me, so it was kind of bad, the whole thing was awful anyway. Whichever way they did it would have been horrible to do, and I don't envy them having to tell me either. But one of the producers told me, and I remember saying, oh, well, it's fine, whatever. Or I said something like, whatever is meant to be is meant to be. And I was kind of like, when you're on a show like that as well, you feel kind of invincible. You're like, oh, well, I'm sure there's millions of films there waiting for me anyway. It's a bit like cocky. But then I realized the producer didn't actually want to have breakfast. It was more of just like, I've got to go and catch a flight. And he was like, are you hungry? And I was like, well, yeah.
It's breakfast.
I'm having breakfast. I don't care. And I'm actually really bloody hungry right now. So we sat there and had this amazingly awkward breakfast. Well, I ordered salmon and eggs and everything. He paid for it.
Well, right. He just told you were going to die. You've got to, splurge a little bit.
Exactly. And then, half an hour later, I went to the beach and cried. But not in front of him. So that was the main thing. But yeah, it was very sad for all of us. And I still absolutely adore them. I'm still really good friends with them, and it's weird that life really mirrors art really mirrors life in the reverse, in the sense, because every time I go back it is so strange, and it's like going back in time or into a different timeline, and my life's moved on and their lives have moved on in different ways, but it's always it's still special. It will always be very special to me.
What was it really like on set? Because I imagine it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm a huge Flash fan. I think that the CW have done a phenomenal job with the Arrowverse, and I'm really gutted that Arrow is finishing.
Yeah.
But the Flash is going to.
I know. So I'm shocked that Arrow is finishing. But yeah, of course, I'm so happy that Flash is continuing, because, you know, when I first saw Grant on Arrow, I was so excited because I just thought he was so wonderful, and his character was so well cast, and he was his imagination was so alive. So I was really, really excited to start to create this with all of them. And so, what was your question?
What was it like on set? Because personally, I imagine it was absolutely.
Yeah, so at first, like the first episode was directed by David Nutter. So we knew, I mean, he's incredible, right? He's done most of Game of Thrones, you know, the X-Files, all the good pilots as well. So he was the good pilot person to have. I mean, and he's just been so great to me. And so we were very excited about that, but we didn't know where it would go. So, and also it's the first time you're doing a character during the pilot, the first time, you know, and the producers are sitting backstage and they're getting really excited, and you're kind of putting these footprints down of, okay, this is who this person is, and let's make him good, let's not make him too, you know, they were really good at like making Eddie likable and not too much. He could have been an arsehole really easily, and I could really easily do that. So it was you know, a process of like, okay, trying to be like sane. Trying to sane all American person is very difficult for me. So it was, you know, very, very, very big stretch for me. But, you know, I got the hang of it in the end. So yeah, the vibe on set was pretty amazing. And then, you know, we didn't know if we'd go to series, so it was kind of like, and then we got like 7 episodes, I think, or something, and then 13. And then the days were so long, they were like 17-hour days, because they didn't really know how to, you know, they were figuring it out, like how do we, like, Grant was running on the treadmill all the time, and like his suit was kind of uncomfortable at first. So he was really the one who was there the whole time. You know, we had days off now here and there, and you know, So it was very cool though, and then of course, you know, halfway through season 1, you know, the paparazzi were on set all the time. There was people gathering around, and you know, we were like, we've been here. It was quite funny because in the pilot, no one was really interested.
Yeah, no one's really
interested.
interested.
What is that? Yeah, so
it's amazing. How did you kind of know that your character would have such an impact on the big baddie, obviously, Eobard Thorne? Did you kind of suss that at the very beginning? Did you kind of think, I kind of see where this might be going? Or was it kind of like, actually, I didn't even see that coming? No,
I didn't see it coming because I actually recently looked at my old contract, and it said Eddie Thorne in brackets, oh my God, I'm having a complete blank now.
No, you're all right.
I'm back. Jay Garrick, it said Jay Garrick in, so I think originally they were sort of thinking along those lines.
Okay.
And then they were also thinking before the series started, they were thinking, okay, maybe reverse flash lines.
Yeah.
Actually, that was before the pilot. So they'd already sort of changed things up before we started filming the pilot. And then they changed things up again. And so hopefully there's going to be some sort of more stuff for me. But we don't know that yet. So.
Well, with the multiverse now, there's obviously that's what I'm looking for. There's the opportunity for you to come back as a
so many opportunities.
Has that been discussed? Has that been?
It's definitely been discussed. I just don't know where or when.
Okay.
What's happening, and I have no control over it either, which is not frustrating at all.
No, clearly not. No. So, do you find it easy to go back? I know you said earlier on that you like going back. Do you find it easy to go back?
I do. I love going back. It is emotional, like in a cool way, because it's almost easier to act because it's so sad, and also it usually, as I said, mirrors the story, what's happening in our lives, and seeing them all again, and you know, pretending I'm not dead when I fun. And you know, I know how heartbreaking my death was I've heard from a lot of people, and we tried to structure it that way as well, you know, and so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, okay. In a twisted sort of morbid way.
In a twisted way.
Yeah.
So just for our radio show, can you say you delight in your fans suffering?
Because I can tell you there was a lot of people that were
I'm
very
so
upset.
evil.
No, that's
evil.
fun. Could you ever see anything?
I don't delight in their suffering. I am very touched by the fact that people would cry tears.
Fantastic.
Over me. This is no lie. I can't talk. This is not a lie. When I was in grade 3, I was obsessed with Thundersub. I don't know if anyone remembers it. It's this crazy, weird, I shouldn't say weird, but it was this really incredible cartoon, anime cartoon about these submarine wars. And there was these 2 twins. One of them's name was Rick. And he dramatically died in this film. He was a little boy, and there was this girl crying up. I think her name was April. And I told everyone the next day at school that I'd acted in the cartoon, because I just wanted to die on TV and people to cry over me. And now it's happened like 3 hit TV shows in a row.
That kind of sucks a little bit.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, because it doesn't. They say bad things come in 3s though. So
That's true.
You know, it might be a good omen for moving forward.
The next show I'm on, I'm going to be the lead forever and ever and ever. Never die.
Do you have anything that's sort of coming up that you're working on?
Yeah, there's a few things. I'm doing a film next. I just finished a film. So yeah, I think it's time to do some TV. So we'll see.
How does it differ from doing film to TV? What's the main difference, do you think, from as an actor's perspective?
Well, you get a lot more time in film, usually, although some have been very quick. So that's kind of cool, because you get to explore more. But in a way, TV is awesome because you just have to do it, you know, and you don't have time to think. So a lot of the time it can be even more organic in a weird way. Also because you get to play the character for so long that you get to know him a lot better and interact with people a lot more. So they both have their pros and cons, and depending on the budget as well. I think
it all comes down to cash.
Time is very of course, like the budget is the one that dictates that. Yeah.
How did you get into acting? How did it start for you?
I always wanted to be an actor. When I lived in Zimbabwe, I lived in the middle of nowhere on a farm, and much to my parents' horror, I kind of followed through, and I went to acting school right after school in Australia, and I did a degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts, at a drama school in Australia, and then I spent 6 years in Sydney working after that in theatre, and mostly theatre, and a lot of kids shows and completely random things, like working at the TV Shopping Network backstage, which was hilarious. That's chapter 4 of my autobiography, coming out 2057. But yeah, and I did some film and TV in Australia, not that much. And then I just moved to LA when I was 27 on a complete whim. I met this incredible acting teacher and life coach, and I did his classes in LA, and I just really put my head down in LA, got my visa, got my stuff together, got a really good manager. And I started getting really close to a lot of big things. I nearly got on Days of Our Lives twice, big contract on that. Yeah, and I was like, I didn't get that, thank God. And then I got down to like the last 2 people for the originals. It was between me and one other guy for that series, and so I kind of knew the Vampire Diaries people before that, and also all these other shows. So it was really frustrating, but I knew I was getting close, and I just kind of persevered. And then the Vampire Diaries was my big break, I suppose. But they only offered me 1 episode, potentially 6 at the most. So I lived that by quite a long way. So I was quite proud of myself. Yeah.
And then from there to The Flash.
And from there, my 3rd audition after I got killed on Vampire Diaries was, spoiler alert, was The Flash.
Yeah, I haven't seen the end of that.
And so, yeah, I got that, which was fantastic. And then that ended up going, which also is such an anomaly.
Yeah.
to get a series that actually goes, and then has become this whole thing. Then I died on that, and then like a month later I got that part on Quantico, so that was also really amazing because that really took off.
Yeah, that's a great team. That's great. That is.
Yeah, so I had a really amazing streak there, which has kept me running for a very long time. I've done in between there a lot of like TV movies, and I've also done plays and just finished one. So yeah.
Would you ever go on to do
exactly
Broadway
what's
properly?
next, but absolutely would. Yeah, absolutely would. I've actually got really close to a Broadway show recently.
Really?
But didn't get it. So
No,
I know
it's coming.
It's coming. The right role at the right time. But yeah, I would absolutely die to do Broadway for sure. And I'm chipping away at the Broadway thing.
Yeah.
So.
If you could pick a current Broadway musical, which one do you think you would want to do the most?
That's a good question. Well, I only really go for plays on Broadway. I don't know if I could if my voice.
I totally could see you doing that. I could totally see you do that.
I actually can sing, but that's the one thing I think I will probably do. I just haven't done a musical for a while now. I did like Cats in Australia. I did stuff like that. So I think a new musical would be really fun on Broadway. Like I love like new work like that. Yeah, just like of course Hamilton was so kind of cutting edge, and that I'm having absolute blanks today. That new Ben Platt thing that came out a few years ago. I would love to do something like that. I think it would be fantastic. Of course, there's so many other roles. I always wanted to play the Hunchback of Notre Dame in the musical. Yeah. Well, he has very cool songs.
Just because of the cool songs?
Yeah, and I've always loved that story. I always wanted to play Quasimodo, but like a much more rough version of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I must admit, I can't ever see you as a Quasimodo.
People can't until I do my impression, which I'm not going to do right now.
What? No, you can't say that and then not do it.
This is on the camera, come on.
Okay, well, kind of goes something like this.
I mean, that's... and then just roll out into a song.
Yeah, and then I would go into song from that very like organic.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed
place.
to have that.
I feel
now.
very blessed to actually have been a part of that. That's brilliant. So plays then. What sort of play? Obviously not musicals. Then what sort of play would you want to do? What sort of story would it be? Like a gritty, a drama, a comedy?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of plays that I love to do on Broadway. I can't put my finger on one specifically right now. I would love to do Shakespeare in the Park as well. That would be amazing. Even a lot of things start at the Public, so at the Public Theatre in New York. So I was nearly in Plenty with Rachel Weisz, but they said I was a bit too young to play opposite her, which is probably quite true. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I love David Hare. I love Tennessee Williams, Arthur Miller.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brilliant new playwrights coming out as well. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we look forward to seeing you in plenty more stuff.
Thank you.
To come.
Yeah, me too. This interview could be very valuable.
Maybe not for you, maybe
about
for
2
us.
years.
I'll send it through to Disney for that.
We'll copy Disney in on it. They're doing live actions on a lot of things at the minute,
Yeah,
so
totally,
they're totally
now
going for
they'll
that.
know.
Well, see, this is it.
Guys.
See, Rick Cosnett can come
I'm
and
not
do
just a
Quasimodo.
blonde, a dumb blonde.
I don't think
I'm also a dumb blonde.
No, I wouldn't have put you at dumb blonde.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
not
you.
at all. Rick,
Been
thank you
my
so
trouble
much for
once.
your time. I absolutely appreciate it. It's
My
been
pleasure, my
phenomenal.
absolute pleasure. You
It's
guys.
been brilliant. It's been
I'm
hilarious.
gonna stop now, otherwise it's gonna get really.
This is just going to be
really
shaky
mad.
cam video anyway.
Thank you so much. I
My
really appreciate
pleasure.
it, Rick.
My
Thank you.
pleasure, guys.